Hi all, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my first ever moto vlog. Today we're going to be talking about two main topics. One, going from a 600cc bike to a 1000cc, and two, riding again after not having ridden for over 6 years. As you can see, we're here in lovely rainy central London. If you want to know more, stay tuned. As I said, here we are in lovely central London. We're just riding down Piccadilly. I'm on my way home from work. I'm recording on, just to note, a Akaso V50X with an external microphone, which also happens to be an Akaso one. So it's my first motor vlog. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what the sound quality is going to be like, the picture quality, me doing my vlog. Yeah, let's just see how this goes. So first and foremost, why has it been over 6 years since I rode? Well, simple reason is that I used to ride a lovely Honda CBR 600 F4 or F4i or F Sport as it's called, until that got stolen. I had that for about 4 or 5 years and I used to do a similar thing, i.e. ride into work and back, do the commute. And yeah, once that got stolen, I had other life priorities and motorcycling took a backseat, as I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, as we come into beautiful Trafalgar Square. It's even better when the sun's shining, but this is London. As a lot of you can probably relate to, life throws up a lot of other priorities, whether it be travelling or starting a family, which I haven't done yet, going on holidays. We can squeeze down here. Let's go. So yeah, that's why I didn't ride for over 6 years, but I'm glad to report I'm back. I'm now riding again, and I'm riding this lovely Kawasaki ZX10. As you can see, we approach lovely Westminster, and just around the corner, as you can see, is Big Ben. Hopefully you guys can all see that. I'll try and lift up so you can get a good view of that. But it is central London on the way home, so I do want to be careful riding through all this traffic. On the right hand side there is the London Eye, the world famous London Eye. So why did I go from a CBR 600, not ridden for 6 years or over 6 years, and jump onto a liter bike? Just before my 600 was stolen, I was actually test riding a Fireblade, and yeah, lo and behold, after just putting a new chain on and doing all the works and a new tyre and everything, my CBR was stolen. So I was already hatching plans to get to a liter bike just before it was stolen, so that was always going to be the next step. There's another nice view for you across the River Thames. That's into the city. Some of you may think that, well, you're a bit mad going from a 600 to a liter bike and not having ridden after such a long time. And yeah, maybe it is a little bit, but I did do a little prep. I went and hired a little 125 for a few days just to get myself used to the controls again, the wind in your face, being on two wheels. I also spent some time on that 125 practicing some slow control, riding into town, just getting used to those things again. Nothing's quite going to prep you for jumping onto a 1000cc super sport bike, of course, but it was what was available to me and seemed like better than nothing, really. What I did notice after about half a minute of getting onto that 125 was that riding is riding. You get used to it again so quickly in terms of the feel, because I was quite, I wouldn't quite say scared, but there was a bit of trepidation there. I knew I was going to be jumping onto a big powerful bike, so yeah, you ask yourself all the questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I still ride again? Can I ride into town? Am I going to drop it? Glad to report I didn't do any of that, and it all became very familiar again very, very quickly. And let's forget about the 125. What you guys might really want to know was, how did it feel getting onto the ZX10? Yeah, this is ZX10. Well, it felt amazing. It didn't feel scary at all. Once you're on, after a couple of minutes, all's fine again. Of course, you have to be very, very careful. You know what the bike can do, but it's all down to how much you actually twist the throttle yourself. So as long as you keep it steady, which is what I'm doing here, we're in central London and all the speed restrictions are ridiculously slow. But you take it easy, you know what the bike can do, you don't quite know what you can do. So yeah, you give it quite a bit of time before you start pushing any boundaries. Being a bigger engine bike, I did think that it was going to be quite heavy. Well, I actually didn't know completely what to expect. But as a lot of you out there may know, you litre sport bike riders, it's actually surprisingly light. It's really flickable. It's really easy just to lean over, especially once you get going. But even as you stood up, it feels very light. It doesn't feel heavy at all, to be completely honest. One thing I did want to do was go and practice some slow control, because when I used to ride on the CBR, my slow control was, let's just say, needed some work, U-turns, etc. So I didn't go too mad. I still don't have crash bungs on this thing yet, but I did try and do some slow controls, some slow maneuvers, some tight turns, just getting used to the basics again, and trying to make some improvements before I got a year down the line and got lazy and forgot to do them again. And I'm surprised to say I didn't drop it. On the contrary, I think I've done quite well in terms of improving my slow maneuver skills. But you guys don't want to know all about slow speed, you want to know about the fast stuff. And she's quick. This ZX10 is very quick. I must say, after such a long time not riding, it's hard to actually make that comparison. How much quicker is the litre bike than the 600? They're both going to go super quick. Of course, the main difference I've noticed is that to get the 600s to go quicker, you have to make them scream. Hence their nickname, screamers. The difference with this thing, or with any litre sports bike, or any litre bike I guess, is that you can do the same speeds and get the same acceleration and more at lower revs. It just feels a lot more effortless. Now with this thing, as you can see, obviously I'm going very slowly. There are speed restrictions here. Yes, it is 20 miles per hour. It is ridiculously painful, and I'm doing around 2,000 revs in second gear. Let's drop to first. You don't even need second gear there. You don't need half as many revs on a litre bike to get up to the same or more speeds, and that can be pretty scary because you don't actually sometimes know how quick you're actually going. And with not knowing how quick you're actually going, meaning that you're actually going faster than what you think you might be going, is also braking distances. So yes, that is a new bit of learning. Now to put that into some kind of perspective for you guys, with a 600, as you may know, you have to really get that up in terms of the revs, and the more revs you give it, the quicker it goes all the way through pretty much, especially that's what it was like on the CBR. With this thing, and the way that this ZX10 is mapped stock, it's quick enough, believe you me, right from the get-go, right from 1,000, 2,000 revs. But once you get up to around 7,000, 8,000 revs, maybe even 6,000 revs, the thing goes absolutely ballistic on you. And that's where all the power is, and it's pretty frightening the first time you do it, and the second time, and the third time. I suppose it never really gets not frightening. It's just very quick. It really pulls you out of your seat, so you've got to be very careful. Don't do it straight away if you are going from a 600 to a 1000cc, and I definitely do not recommend buying a 1000cc bike as your first big bike. It's too quick, it's too powerful. Another difference I found was technology. The CBR I had was admittedly older, so it's not necessarily a difference between going from a 600 to a 1000, but as I said, I hadn't ridden for a long time, and part of this vlog was about what it feels like to not have ridden a bike for a while. And in terms of this bike and what my CBR didn't have are things like engine modes. So this has an engine mode, full power, medium power, low power. Does all the obvious, of course. And then also this has traction control, and that also has 3 levels: a low, medium and a high, depending on maybe how wet it is, etc. let's next talk about money. Buying a liter bike is going to be a bit more expensive than buying a 600 in a lot of cases, obviously depending on whether you buy one used, new or whatever. Whoa, let's get through there. One, you have the initial outlay costs, but you also have to take into consideration the fuel cost difference. Fuck. Okay, so I just edited out the bit where I've just had a go at somebody. That's London traffic for you at rush hour. Yeah, so the cost. As I was saying, not only the initial outlay of buying a bike, again after a long time, prices go up of course, plus the litre bikes are newer, at least, or brand new. They're going to be more expensive than the 600s in most cases, I think. But aside from that, what you have to take into consideration is the fuel costs. There is a difference, though it's not extortionate and it's nowhere in line with car fuel prices. You will need to take into account that a litre bike is going to cost you more in terms of fuel. Another cost you're going to have to take into consideration, of course, is the gear. Now, I did have some of my old gear. I had my old crash helmet, a lovely little AGV, I had my old textile jacket, but you will need to buy new gear, guys. Leather trousers I bought. I do need to buy a leather jacket. Even though I did have my old AGV crash helmet, it was too big for me, I found, after all that time not riding, so I had to splash out on another crash helmet. On top of that, you got to think about security. I do live in London, but anywhere I guess, especially when you're on a sports bike, they are a sought after bike for the thieves and the criminals out there. So you do want to make sure that you invest in security. I've got 3 locks on this particular bike. I've got a D-lock with an alarm in it. I have a hip lock, I think it's called, the D1000, which is the most angle grinder proof lock that you can get, I believe. And then I have another long chain that I put around the swing arm. I haven't yet invested in a tracker, but that's something that's on my list, and I'm told it's a worthwhile investment. So you should have all these things. I think they're very useful for obvious reasons, but they do add up in terms of cost, so be ready to get your wallet out. Right, so I think I'm going to leave it there, guys, for my first ever moto vlog, taking you around central London a little bit. I'll be sure to create some more vlogs for you on various topics, maybe go into some more detail on some of the things that I was speaking about in this vlog. If there's anything you want me to talk about, please do let me know in the comments section, and yeah, I will see you on the next one. Let's get out